Hola, hola. It's your girl Erica from America. Welcome to the Confidence Chronicles podcast. This podcast is all about helping you stand in who you are. Stop giving a fuck what people think about you. Start standing as your fully expressed self. As you are, as is, there is no filter needed. You are fucking awesome, and I am here to remind you. I'm a confidence coach, and I'm a bold stand for confidence, and I cannot wait to dig into today's episode with you. My darlings, welcome back to the podcast. I am so damn excited to introduce Miss Suz Chadwick in the house. Woo, woo. She, I know, we just have to like celebrate. There's a lot going on for Miss Suz right now, and I cannot wait for her to tell you all the things. But she's a dear friend. We met on Instagram, as we do. And I fucking love her. She is bold. She is biz. She is sassy. She is one of the most amazing speakers that I've heard speak. She is a dear friend. I get to do life, work, business, and frozes with her. And she's a fucking boss mama, and I'm excited because she's now an author as well. Woohoo!
Amazing.
Can you believe this? You have a fucking book?
I know. Well, the thing is that, first of all, hello. Hi, everybody. We just launched it. I love it. Yes, and obviously I'm speaking to you today, but my book literally arrived on my doorstep today. And it was so funny. When the postman came, I looked at him and I think he was like, why is she so excited? I'm like, I know what this is.
Oh, my God. Not the Telstra bill. It's my book, motherfucker.
It's my book. So good. So good to be here. I'm excited to be on your podcast because I know you have an incredible audience and community. Like, I watch your stories and they're just amazing at sharing and connecting and talking all things confidence. They're awesome.
Yes, they love you. And listen, if you can't hear it already, she is confident as fuck, okay? And she embodies the FWOT message to the extreme. If you could see her, some of you, if you're watching this, because this is getting filmed as well, head over to our YouTube. Hey, she has the best colorful, bold background, and you're all about that, girl. So if you're listening to this, be sure to tag us. Be sure to reshare. We want to hear what you think about this. And if you're a woman in business or you're someone who is thinking about it and you've been interested in it, this episode is for you. We're going to go deep into all of the things. But before we start, what does confidence mean to you? What is that word? What does that mean to you, Suz?
Confidence to me is me just being myself. And what I mean by that is, like, I really don't care what other people think. Like, I just think for me, confidence is me choosing to live an incredible life and not allow other people to kind of come into my zone of energy and excitement and amazingness when it comes to what I want to do and be and create. And so I just feel confidence for me is me just being really happy in myself and not letting anybody else kind of touch that energy.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm honest, I just feel like a lot of people have got their stuff going on, and I think it's really easy for people to try and sap what you've got. And I think that you just need to really stand in, like you say, stand in your power, stand in what you believe, know like your worth, and just show up. That's what I'm about.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. That's why we love each other. We did an event, and we're going to tell you guys if you're in Melbourne or in Australia about this next event. But we did an event, and it was just like firecracker power.
It was amazing. I have to be honest. Like, we planned out the event. We knew what we were going to talk about. But I feel like when we got there, it's like something else happened, lady. Like, we were like, it ain't Sunday, but we are preaching. Like, it was amazing. I loved it. And I have to tell you, for those who are listening, and if you weren't at the event, Erica did say to me beforehand, now people may cry. And I'm like a brand strategist. Yeah. I talk about branding a business. I'm like, people don't cry at my events, chick. Like, what are you talking about? Within minutes, there were tears. And it was amazing. It was amazing. People really wanted to just let go of what they were holding so tightly to and just be in the room and in the space. And I walked away going, I don't know what happened. I don't know what just happened in the last couple of hours, but it was pretty freaking amazing.
It was so moving. And it was like 3 hours, but we went through like 2 days of content with them, and they were a good audience. Y'all Melbourne audience were amazing. They gave us a lot. They were awesome. So brand strategist. So tell everybody what's the background. And she does have a bit of a preach background. Don't play. She will give you a sermon, Miss Suz. Tell us your background and where all of your amazingness came from of you wanting to do this work.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to be honest, like and in my I love it. And in my book I talk about this.
Hey.
No. So I was a corporate chick. I've always been a corporate chick. I've worked for Big Four consulting firms and all the rest of it. I love the suited and booted, working from 6:30 a.m. till 11:30 p.m. and then clubbing all night and going back to work. Like I was living in London and living the high life. And I was working for a Big Four, and I ended up doing some branding work for them, which I really loved. And I kind of say that I just got bitten by the bug. It was like creating things that really spoke to people in a unique way that just targeted a message and made them feel something. So it was like, how do we inspire people to come and work for this company, which is what we were doing when I was working there. And I was just like, what is this voodoo that you do so well? Like we were working with an agency and they came up with all of these amazing concepts, and I was just like, this is freaking awesome. I love it. So to cut a long story short, I ended up coming back to Melbourne. I'd been in London for 8.5 years, and I was still in recruitment, which is my background, recruitment and HR. And I just got to the point where I was like, I just knew I didn't want to do that anymore. And I wanted to kind of start getting into the more creative space. And I met a consultant the day before I went on maternity leave. She came into the company that I was working at. She's like, and we can do all of these marketing and branding and blah, 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 social media. And I was like, oh, again, awesome. And a couple of months after I had my first baby, I contacted her on LinkedIn and I just said, hey, we met. Remember me? We met for that 2 minutes, that one time 4 months ago. I'll work for you free of charge, like 1 day a week if you teach me everything you know. So she had been a brand strategy consultant at Deloitte. And so I would just sit on these calls with her and her clients and end up trying to build their social following, look at their messaging, look at how we were going to market, who their audience were, all that sort of stuff. And I was like hook, line and sinker. And so, I started doing it for big corporates, doing employer branding. And then I was just looking for a community and I couldn't find one. And I had started up a business in a corporate, like creating all the pricing and packaging and branding and marketing and messaging. And girlfriends of mine were like, I don't want to go back to work after maternity leave. How do I start a business? And I just learned a whole lot of stuff along the way that I didn't actually realize I kind of knew. It was just something I'd been in. And so I'm like, right. And so we get wine on a dining room table and I've got like my spreadsheets and notebooks out. I'm like, this is how we do it. And so the more that I did that, they were like, you need to like do this for a job, because I was in my element. Wow. And so once again, just saw an opportunity, started to build a community. I went around to lots of different networking events. I call myself the Goldilocks of networking. I'm like, some were too big, some were too small, some were too hot, some were too cold. I just couldn't find what I was looking for. And so I just built my own. I say that to my ladies all the time. You can't find it, create it.
Yeah.
Like, don't wait for other people. And so I ended up building the Connection Exchange. I had lots of amazing women, still do. Started running big events, and here I am.
Started running big events and looks away. Tell me about first of all, I just love you. I just want to kiss you. So did you hear, y'all, that she was like, I just rang this woman and said, I'll work for free so you could teach me stuff. What is that part of you? And then I want to ask you to go deeper into your little big events, which are humongous events and amazing. Do you see how she's got this fire and just like, I can do this. I think I can do this. No rules. You really embodied that. So what was that part of you that was like, that gave you that, I'm just going to ask this lady and see if I'll do, like, what was that? Where did that come from? Had you always had that?
I learned that from my mama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my mum, so I come from a really, so as you were saying, preacher here, I come from a really strong Christian home. So I grew up in a Baptist home. My mother lectured on the Bible for like 20 years.
Wow.
And my dad was like an elder in the church and all the rest of it. And so my mom is like, she's feisty. Yeah. She's like got stuff to say and she's not afraid to say it. But she always just taught me, ask for what you want. Like, you know, life's never going to just give you stuff. If you want something, go after it, ask for it. What is the worst that could happen if you ask somebody for something? They say no. And then what happens? Does the world fall apart? No. Like you move on and you figure something else out. And, you know, it's the whole thing. It's like when a door shuts, you climb through the window.
Yeah.
You know, you break down the wall and you create your own door, like whatever it takes. So for me, I've just always had a real, just, you know, a very playful attitude towards learning what I want, getting what I want, going after what I want. And I just don't put a lot of, I think, pressure on myself or emphasis on it. I'm like, if I ask and I get it, freaking awesome. And if I don't, I'll just figure something else out. Like, no big deal. Yeah. You know, so I think for me, that's it. And I do love, I mean, for any of you who have read Big Magic, it's like my Bible, if I'm honest, by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's like every creative person should read it.
Yeah.
But she talks about the martyr and the joker. And she's like, some of us will be like, you know, everything that I do in my life is going to cause me pain. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be blood, sweat, and tears. You know, so that's the martyr where it's like, I must die for my art. Yeah. And then there's other people who are like jesters or jokers who are just like, hey, let's see what happens. Let's give it a go. Let's have a bit of fun. And I think that it's really important to see like how you approach things. Like, are you kind of putting all of this pressure where you're like, oh, I really want to ask for that. But if they say no, then I'm so stupid for asking. And I think, you know, they're going to think I'm an idiot. And like, are we like putting all of this pressure and negativity onto something when in fact it's like, it's just a yes or a no, dude. Like it's really not life or death. And I think that's where I come from with it.
Yeah. And it's so good because you're right. We do go to that worst case scenario based off of what we think the scary story that may happen. And it's like, what if that doesn't happen? What if you get Lisa Messenger at your first speaking event?
I know. And she did just write like on my book as well. She did the testimonial. She's so beautiful. But you know something. So on that, so my very first event, I wouldn't advise you do this, but I was like, how hard could it be to run an event for 200 women at Circa for like all day? I mean, it's obviously not going to be that hard. Yeah, it was at Circa, which is where we have Confidence Rising.
Oh my goodness.
So that was my very first event. So I just thought, I'll just put it together and see what happens. And I wanted Lisa because Collective Magazine had only just sort of been around for a year or two. And so I just Googled her email address and I found it. And as I say all the time, I was really uncool. I wasn't like, oh, hello, Lisa, how are you? I'm like, oh my God, I love you. You're awesome. I want you to come to my event. Like it was, I'm totally not cool at any point in time. I just gush constantly. And so I did pay, like it wasn't like free, but she's like, yeah, sure. And so she came and she spoke at the event and it was amazing. We had she's like, there is nothing that I won't tell you. So, you know, even though I had like 90 odd women there, I'm like, this is just for me. So how many revenue streams do you have and how much money do you make and what happens when you do this and when do you get collaboration? And I was just asking her basically all the questions that I wanted to know. And then everybody else got to ask their questions too. But it was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. Just if you want something, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's a really good lesson, Mama. Mama, what's your mama's name?
Pamela. Pam Garcia.
Shout out to Pam. And you have a daughter who literally looks like you so much. How old is she now?
She's about to turn 9 next week.
Oh, my goodness.
Shan.
Oh,
Sean,
Sean, you
she
almost
is a
got that
mini
with it.
me.
She is. And I think it's so powerful because we talk about it all the time about how you can't tell them to be confident. You can't tell them to go for what they want and find a voice. You have to, well, your mom told you, but she also showed you,
Yeah.
you know, and it's so, how's your little girl? Do you feel like, and you have a boy as well, but how do you feel like your kids feel with confidence, and how do you as a mom and obviously as a businesswoman kind of model that for them?
Yeah, and I talk about it a lot actually. I like with them. So, and I can't remember whether we were having this conversation, but a while ago I was sort of saying, especially when we did Confidence Rising the first time, like they're really curious and they're like, oh, like what's the event about, and like who's Erica and what are you talking about, and all this. And so we ended up having the conversation, and I was saying to them, you know, you should never care what other people think, because a lot of times other people are scared to do things, and so they will discourage you from doing things. And it's really interesting when you have to start to take what you talk about and bring it into an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old's world, like the language that you use and simplifying what you say. But I also think it becomes really clear for you what you're talking about as well when you do speak at that level. Yeah. So I was sort of saying things like, don't care what people say. You know, you have to really listen to that inside voice and know that when you feel really passionately about something and you have your opinion, that's okay. Like, don't let other people affect how you feel about things, because you know yourself and you know the values that we as a family talk about and what's important to us. Other people are different, and that's okay. We always respect other people, but don't let them change you. And I think that, like, when you have those sorts of conversations with your kids, oh, it's just like right in the heart, man. Like, it's a different level, and it's really interesting. Yeah. Like, you know, my son's like, Mom, why do we get embarrassed about things? Wow. I'm like, geez, dude, like, hard question at 7:00 over breakfast. But yeah, I think kids obviously bring that simple viewpoint to you. And I think it's really important to have those sorts of conversations with them. I love it.
Oh my goodness, your little people. I can't believe 7 and 8. And they get to see you because you work a lot from your space. That's your beautiful, colorful home office where you're like recording videos and programs and podcasts and Mommy's studio. And your kids just come in and get to watch you. I think it's so important as well for your daughter to see that Mommy is creating her money. Mommy is creating her impact, and like a woman in business. Like, imagine us seeing our mothers do that. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's so funny because we were looking at a picture of the book the other day. Like, I just got the proof, and she's like, Mom, are you famous? I'm like, no, sweetheart, but I will be. One day.
They're the best. Like, Mommy, is that your radio show? I'm like, yeah. I got a radio show. It's all in the car. Mommy's in the car. It's like, yeah, we're famous. We got radio shows and books, and I'm so excited for your book. Oh my goodness.
Thanks,
goodness. When you work with women in business, where do women usually find you? Like, is it at the beginning? Is it in the middle, towards the end? Like, where do you come into the play and help these women with business?
Normally I say, and I mean, this is never set in stone, but usually women who have been in business for a couple of years, and sometimes been in business for a lot of years, but they want to show up in a different way. They want to create, they want to understand how to create strategies that allow them to be more in control of where they're going and how much money they're making and how they're going about doing that. But I think a lot of the stuff that I talk about, whilst I really do go into the, system, strategies, structure of your business, I just find that you can have all the best marketing tactics and strategies and stuff, but if your head is not in the right place, and if you don't really love what you're putting out there, and you don't have a confidently bold brand where you understand why you're different and how you're different, and that you're showing up with confidence, like we were just talking about, showing up as your true self and loving that and not caring what other people think, and knowing that what you have is unique to you, and that you've actually got something that if you don't share that with the people you want to work with, they're missing out on an opportunity. It's like you. I love when we were at Confidence Rising, you're like, sometimes I cry in the car because I want women to know like what I have to say.
All the time. Damn, your Beyonce's Bigger song, it kills me. I'm like, you was something way bigger. I'm like, oh my God, yes, passion.
But I think that's it. It's like, you know, I see a lot of women who are exceptional at what they do. They have a really amazing product or service. And, you know, to kind of get biblical, they're hiding their light under a bushel. They're like, you know, they're not putting themselves out there, and they're not deciding to shine, and they're not deciding to talk about what they do because of all of the other stuff around them, like what people think, and just feeling like they're not enough, or they're not qualified enough. They don't have enough experience. They don't know enough. And I'm telling you, people who I see as number one in their industry suffer from this sometimes. Like people who I know are killing it, that I know are struggling. And
crazy.
Yeah, and I just think that you have to do that inner work, which is why I love what you do. And I've said to so many of my ladies, you know, I'm like, you need to go and work with Erica. You know, we can work on your business, we can work on your mindset, but you got to go deep. Like, you've got to really understand why you feel the way that you do, what's holding you back, how to break through that, because it's not just something you do in a couple of weeks. I feel like it's a journey that we all go on. And, you know, some of us maybe started that journey a lot earlier than others, but it's something that you got to do if you want to build your business and just, you know, have a great life, really.
Yeah.
You've got to do the work.
And I think that's why our combo, not that we are shamelessly promoting ourselves on this podcast for our event. Seriously though, like, that's why you and I think we like a match made in heaven, because we were right. We're like, how the fuck are we going to, like, what, you know, we had an idea, we had a workbook. We were like, but we kind of just really let it go and like let the women that were there guide. And we did lots of Q&A. And I think, you know, you and I talked even before we were planning it about how business is so personal. And you've sounds like that you got, you know, your mom, your dad, like your upbringing, your life gave you certain things that you had to work out and strengthen yourself. But you had a pretty good core, strengthened core, which is like, it's not lucky, it's not blessed. It was that was the card you got. And like, it's just about what can you do with the card you got dealt. And I think that we realized that business is personal, and that if you don't deal with your shit, it's going to show up in your business. It's going to show up everywhere. And that was awesome, because at that event, we got to just scratch the surface on, you know, the women that shared. It was so amazing. So, and hence why we're doing this again, because we know, like, if you want to have a successful business, if you want to impact the world, or it doesn't matter if you're doing peanut butter, socks, coaching, whatever, like, you deserve to have an awesome and successful, fun as fuck business. And that again brings me to your book and your branding, your podcast, like everything that you do. When you said, like, you know, you don't want to be vanilla, and that, you know, you have to play big and brand bold, and like really put yourself out there. Like, how does someone who maybe considers themselves an introvert or shy or whatever, do this? How do they do this?
Yeah. And I mean, I get this all the time. Like, I am a very bold and colorful person, but I really see bold branding as breaking the mold. And you can be beige and bold. You can be baby blue and bold. Like, it doesn't really matter about that. It's really about you making the decision that actually, you know, I've got something that is of value, and I've got something to say, and I know that I can help people. So it's like, so what is a way that you communicate best that works for you? And, you know, the whole thing of introvert and shy and all the rest of it, and I said it before, there are so many massive entrepreneurs who are super successful that are self-proclaimed introverts. So, you know, if you don't want to be out constantly meeting with people in crowds, you could do a podcast by yourself at your desk in your office, like in your Ugg boots. You know, like, you have to find you have to find a way that works for you. And I just think that a lot of people watch people who are kind of a bit more, out there, and they're like, well, I can't be like that. Well, you don't need to be like that. You can find a way that works for you. And I think that you've also just got to find what works for you, because if you try and be somebody else, you're never going to be consistent, and you're not going to be able to continue to do it because it's not going to feel authentic to you. So if you write, then write. If you speak, then speak. If, you find writing in the feed of Instagram easier than doing stories, I am a big believer in stories. I think that that's what you need to do. But I also think you've also got to look at, where's the opportunity for me, and how can I maybe do things in small bite-sized pieces to build my confidence and get me to where I want to be as well. Like, don't just hide out. We've all got to push ourselves, to get to where we want to go as well. But you've got to find what works for you.
Yeah, I love that, because then you're not trying to pretend to be someone else, and then it doesn't feel inauthentic.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're so with your book, you're an author. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What's the deal? So what's going on? How do we get this book, and what is it about?
That's a really good question, because I've just gotten the proofs and stuff. So I will be, so if you go to theconnectionexchange.com, it will be there soon. I don't think it's going to be there the week that this podcast goes out, but it will be there in the next couple of weeks, because I do have my book launch on the 21st of November. But Play Big, Brand Bold, amazing. Cannot believe that. Like, it took me 3 years, I'm not going to lie, because I was like, I'm going to write it. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to write it. And then I was like all over the place with it. And then I finally made the decision and finished it in about 2 months. So I got there in the end. But, playing big and branding bold is something that I've talked about for years now. And it's really just a philosophy that I've got that, in order to be successful in business, you have to make the decision to show up every day and play that bigger game, even when it feels uncomfortable, because it's not what you're used to. And branding bold is just about loving the crap out of what you've got. And you want to talk about it all the time, and you're not ashamed to talk about it as well. But, I ended up interviewing over 100 women now on what holds them back, like what they really want. When they're not doing what they want, what are they doing instead? Procrastination, habits, mindset, stuff like that. And also just, they don't know what to do a lot of the time. So it's like, I don't know how to put myself out there. I don't know how to build a brand. I don't know how to create a marketing strategy. And even if I did, I feel like I don't love what I've got, so I'm not putting it out there. So this is really all about that. It's all about a bit of my story, and then what, keeps us playing small, how we can be more unique. And it is also a bit of a kick up the bum. It's kind of like, it is time for you to hire yourself as the CEO of your business. It is time for you to step up to the plate and make the decision that if you're going to be here, then be here. Don't kind of, dip your toe in the water. I want you to jump in the nutty and just skinny dip all over it.
Get in there nude. Yes. Oh my God, I love you. So what is something that you see as maybe one of the biggest things that you come across with women in business when they approach you, like a big thing that they get wrong, or a question that they have, or something that, you talk about a lot that maybe our listeners who have business or who are thinking, shit, what do I do next? What's the biggest thing that you see, the biggest problem when they're talking branding and being bold and in their biz?
It's that they are I don't like to use all these words because they feel like they're used a lot, but comparisonitis is a big one. Yeah. And it's because they constantly look at themselves and just say, I don't think I know enough to be bigger. I don't think I know enough to be seen as a thought leader. I don't think I've done enough work. Yeah. And I also say that, there are people who I've worked with in corporate who have got 20 years of marketing experience, and somebody who's got 5 who does a much better job because they're more agile, they think differently, they're more creative, they've grown up in a different space. So I think whether you've been in something for years or you've been in something for a year or two, it doesn't really matter. I think that your unique perspective that you bring to things, your upbringing, your education, your background, the things that you've been exposed to, what you believe. Like, I think that if I gave you 10 different pieces of content and I read the same 10 different pieces of content, we would come out with different understandings, interpretations, viewpoints on it, because you and I have got different filters on how we look at life and business. And I think that that's the joy, is that you get so much insight from other people, which is why I love talking to you about business. And I've talked about you on my podcast as well, where I'm like, something, when I hang around with Erica, I've kind of come through a certain school of business. Like, I have my online mentors who I listen to. You are like in a whole other realm, lady. Like, I love it, because you challenge my thinking. And I think that if you are sitting there thinking like you don't know enough, or what you think is not good enough, it's different to other people, then that is the point. Like, that's your juju. That's the thing that will make you stand out, make you different, make people who want what you have, or where they're just drawn to you. It's like constantly, I feel like I'm saying, there's 10 people in a room that do exactly the same thing. One of them will be for you. And a lot of the time, that's why they're for you. You may not be able to articulate. It's not like because they got black hair or because they were wearing a pink dress. It's like their vibe. It's like their energy. It's their interpretation and their view on the world that makes me go, you are my person. Yeah. So embrace the fact that you think differently and that you have different experience and that you've grown up in a different environment and you've got a different point of view. Like, embrace that, because the people that love that, they will find you. And can I tell you, they will love you hard. And that is what you want.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're just be your fully expressed self, and people that love that will go to that, and the people that don't can find you someone else.
Absolutely.
There's so many. I love that.
But I think that's where the confidence comes from as well. Like, if you can really try and just settle into that and know that that is where you want to play. You don't need to be for everybody, and you don't have to care what other people think. Like, you do you, and the people will find you. But if you can decide to be in that space and hold that space for yourself and for your audience, your community, your people, then that is where your confidence will come from, because that is all that you're focusing on. And we talked about it at Confidence Rising. When you focus on yourself, you will never become confident. When you start to focus on everybody else and what you're here to do and who you're here to be and how you're here to help, that is where your confidence will come from.
I remember when you said that. That was like, mic drop. I was like, damn, hallelujah, girl, preach, amen. That was a Sunday sermon moment. I was like,
it's so true. It's so true
though. It's so true. We could talk for thousands of years, because it's 100% true that we really got to stand in the service, and own own your hot mess, own your weird quirks, own your story, own your shit. And that's what I love about you, that you are you. You don't try to be anybody else. You don't try to be fancy. You just try to be you and your brand and the way you are and your way that you're colorful and the way that you speak out. And I know that you have a lot of students and clients that are not outgoing and crazy and rah in your face. Yeah. And they still are so successful and they're killing it and they're happy. So one of your favorite brands that brands boldly and plays big, do you have a favorite brand?
I do. I've got a few, but I do. Obviously Gourmet is a big one for me. But it's also, something I do love them because of the color, but it's also when I talk about brand, I always say brand is the invitation to have an emotional connection with something. It's the unspoken stuff. Yeah. Business is the nuts and bolts of delivering a product. Brand is the juicy stuff, the stuff where you're like, I don't know why I love it. I don't know why I'm willing to spend all my hard-earned dollars on it. I don't know why I keep going back, but I just do. That is what brand is about. Yeah. It's like the pull. It's like, I cannot stay away. I have to have more. That is what brand is. Yeah, absolutely. So Gourmet for me is an experience. Yeah. I love what they have. I love the quality of the product. I love when I go in the store and what the experience is for me. It's a feeling. And so that's one that I do love. But yeah, there's so many. There's lots of brands I love, but Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, when you create a brand, it's like what people want to be, do, and have. It's like I either want to be like that, I want to do that thing, or I really want to have that in my life. And so that's how we make our buying decisions. And so I think that's what we need to connect with when it comes to our audience. It's what do they want to be, do, and have.
That is so good. So for those out there that are like, what could I do? I'm new to business. I'm scared. How do I brand? What's the first thing? What's the biggest thing? Should I get a business card? What advice could you give someone who is just starting out, and maybe someone who has been in the game way too long and they need some love?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for me, what I would say is to really sit down and take a look at like what you're trying to be in the world. Like, what is it that is unique about you, and what is it that you want to do differently? And then how can you really talk about that? And for me, I need to come up with a different word for it. Thought leadership is what I call it, but it needs to be something a lot sexier than that. But it's really about like, what is your unique view and take? Like, just try and sit down and think about that, and think about what is your opinion that you can start sharing that people will start to really resonate with. And I think if you're talking about visual branding, then I do think that it's worth just maybe spending a little bit of money. If you've got a little bit, it doesn't always cost a lot, just to get something that you really love. Because one of the biggest things that holds a lot of women back, because we are very visual and a lot of people are perfectionists and things like that. But if you just have something that you love putting out there, you'll just put it out there more. Whereas if you've got something and you're like, it looks rubbish and I feel rubbish about it, like I feel like it's cheap and nasty and it doesn't reflect the quality of who I am or what I'm trying to do, can I just tell you, like, it is not worth holding on to something like that, because it will take you so much longer to put yourself out there. So spend a bit of money and get something you love. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be something that you can have for like a year or two. And then when you're like, you know, breaking the bank, then you can go the whole lot.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just, I think just love what it is you're putting out there and find your own unique message.
I love you. You're the best.
I love you too.
When can we, first of all, okay, so we got to talk about events. We got to talk about the book and how everybody can find you and work with you, because you do take people on and you can help the world, everybody. So if you're listening and you're in love with her as much as I am, then yes, there's some shit you can do with Suz. Don't worry. But the book, when do you think it will be available? How could they get it? They can go to the Connection Exchange, which we'll put in the show notes.
Yeah. So the connectionexchange.com. And what I'll do is I will have like a page for Play Big Brand Bold or book.
Awesome.
So we should be sorting that out kind of in the next week or so, because the launch is like in a month. And so, and it'll be on like all digital platforms. So like Amazon and Kindle and all the rest of it. So you will definitely be able to find it.
Are you going to Audible?
I am going to Audible. I'm not sure I'm going to Audible in time for the launch, but I'm thinking early next year. I'm definitely, because I've got the podcast. So the Brand Builders Lab is my podcast. And I've got such an awesome podcast audience as well. And as you can tell, I like to talk. So so I'm definitely, going to be getting it on Audible, because I'm a bit of an Audible addict myself. So,
yes, we are. We're obsessed.
It's so
good. Oh, my goodness. And so Suz and I are having an event in Melbourne. And if you're in Australia or New Zealand or Fiji or anywhere, maybe you live in Bali, get your ass to Melbourne, take a flight. We have a great city here called Melbourne. It's amazing. And it's on the 20th of November, 2019. So this is coming up in like the next 2 to 3 weeks when we're recording this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's at Circa, which is at the Prince in St Kilda, which is a stunning venue. Because I am a branding person as well, I'm like, what's the experience? Is the food good? Is it amazing? So we make sure that all of that. So it's a super awesome investment in yourself for the day. We are going to be talking about business confidence. We're going to be talking about personal confidence.
Yes.
We're going to be workshopping some stuff as well, so that you've got time to really go deep too.
Workbook.
Workbook, which I know the ladies loved last time too. So, Yeah, it's exciting. And I have had quite a lot of messages from people in Sydney and Adelaide. We do have people flying in. And so Confidence Rising is on the 20th and my book launch is on the 21st. Woo-hoo. So you could make it a long weekend in Melbourne and just like hang out with us for like a few days, really.
My goodness. So if you fangirl over Suz, you could actually be with her 2 days in a row and she may be tipsy on the second day.
Absolutely.
We can get you a bottle of us and Bubbles. I'll be there. We'll be celebrating our booties up. I'm so proud of you, honey.
Thank you.
Awesome. Where can we find you and what else do you have on offer? I know that you have a course that's running, your podcast, your Instagram, all of that. Because we want y'all to Instagram this episode and let us know what you thought, what you got out of it. So how do we find?
Yeah, so you can find me on all socials, but I do hang out on Insta the most at Suz Chadwick, so SUZCHADWICK. And then I've got Brand Builders Academy, which I'm in the live round of right now, but that will be opening up again in the new year. So if you head to the Connection Exchange, you can join the wait list on that, which is all about getting you confident to build your bold brand and getting the right systems, strategies and structures in place to do that as well. And then, you just head over to the Connection Exchange and everything else is there. But the podcast is Brand Builders Lab as well, which is every week. And I've got lots of guests and solo episodes and it's my piece of love out to my community.
That's so good. And we have a podcast there as well.
We do. And we should share that in your show notes.
Yeah, we're going to share everything.
One. Yeah.
It's going to be everything in there. You're going to be able to stalk her, buy her book, many copies. And then come to the launch, come to the 20th.
Yeah.
So I freaking love you. And I think you're so amazing. And I'm so excited that we got to connect on Instagram because now we're besties and we love to chat all things confidence and frosés. So thank you so much, my love. If you have enjoyed this episode, please tag, share, let us know. Head over to the Brand Builders Lab podcast and check her podcast out, subscribe, and leave a review because we love that so that we know what you think. Definitely, it's going to help you. It's going to help the women that are in business. We need to share this love and this message. So thank you, Suz, for being on the Confidence Chronicles podcast.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. Thanks, everybody. Cannot wait to connect with you as well.
Yay. Thanks, Suz. Thank you so much for listening. I so appreciate your ears, your time, your energy, and your attention. Please do me a favor and head over to Apple iTunes, subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Share this episode with a sister who you know needs to hear it. And if you feel called to, leave me a review. I'd love to know what you think about the podcast. I'd love to know how this information is helping you change your world. Thank you so much for being here. I know that there are many podcasts you could listen to, and I really appreciate you listening to mine. Have a gorgeous week, honey.